Hi, this is Adam Onslaught for the Global Onslaught on Metal Nation Radio. It's very echoey in this room. I could probably break into song at some point. But I don't know if I'm going to bother this evening because there's a man sat next to me who could do a far better job of that, I must agree. Joakim of Sabaton. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening.
We meet again after so many months. It's been, Download Festival last year?
Yes, Download Festival last year, and then I think we're coming back to the UK in January for a London show, and then there's Bloodstock.
Yes, that I will come to that because that was a very, very, very exciting announcement that we had in the last about 2 weeks ago, I think, something like that it was announced at Bloodstock. Obviously, the guys of Sabaton will be playing on the Friday night at Bloodstock 2015. It is going to be an incredible show, I'm sure. So it's well documented. We're going to talk about your album first of all, Heroes, and there's a definite theme going on in here. I mean, the last time we spoke, we talked about that you actually did a gig in the area where one of either the album or one of the songs from the album was actually written about. With regards to your albums themselves, they always seem to have a sort of a theme about battle or conflict of some variety. Is that something that obviously it's something you're interested in, but is that something that as sort of the history behind it, is that what you're very interested about?
Well, in general, yes. I mean, it's not only history. I always preferred fact to fiction, and especially when it comes to history, there are so many heroes in our past that we're forgetting. So why make up new ones?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if it's old World War II or World War I veteran, or even guys coming home from peacekeeping services today with post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that, or maybe missing a limb and. Still nobody gives up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, in fact, it's kind of like a tribute to the fallen, or a tribute to those people who, in history, may have been forgotten, that Sabaton want to make sure that they are remembered in some way.
Yes, in general, we're a heavy metal band, not a political propaganda band, but in general, you shouldn't blame the soldier,
Yeah, that's very, yeah, definitely, I definitely agree with you. And as I said before, we last met at Download 2014, earlier in the year, and the band had just recovered from what was a terrible incident in Belgium, I think it was at the time. Did anything come of that? I mean, a bit of a background story for those who hadn't heard the other interview I did. Sabaton were robbed, basically, in Belgium for, quite a large amount of equipment. Was anything ever come out of that?
Well, nothing came out of that. When we somewhere at Belgium airport, somebody emptied one of our cases, which of course had Sabaton on it, so somebody probably figured out there was going to be expensive equipment in there, and yes, it was. I think about £10,000 worth of stuff at least, maybe twice the amount probably. And
how did you recover after that? I mean, I know you kind of contacted the labels and contacted your endorsements and so on and so forth. Did they all rally together and help you out?
Oh yes, they did. I mean, we didn't get much from the insurance because these airlines don't really want to take responsibility for anything, and everybody's blaming each other. No, it was the ground crew, so we're not responsible for that, and everybody's blaming everybody else. But a big thanks to our sponsor Sennheiser, who actually just without asking sent us new stuff.
That's incredible. Big shout out to Sennheiser for doing that, and that's taking the call and really working it. You're taking a small break between your Strasbourg show on the 20th and and I think it's Oberhausen in Germany on the 8th of January. There's quite a bit of a gap. Are you all going home to spend time Christmas?
Yes, I think it's about time we get some downtime. I do love being on the road, but it's brilliant to go home. I don't want to be home for a long time, but somewhere between a week or two, because then you can recharge your batteries, and then you really want to get back out on the road again. So it's been quite heavy for us right now, not in a bad way, but we started out on the 28th of August, and we didn't come home until the 12th of November, which is quite a long run, and we managed to do Poland, South America, and North America, and a bit of Central America in there as well. And then we had 6 days of home, and then we went on this tour.
That's an incredible amount. So you really do deserve, well, in my opinion, of course, might not be, there's a good break for Christmas, and I hope it goes well for you. Now, as I said before, exciting news, as I said I was going to come back to. Let's not forget the announcement that last week you will be announced as co-headline support for Trivium on Friday the 7th of August at Bloodstock. How excited were you when you got the call for that?
Well, it's usually a bit of a strange situation, because we get to be happy about stuff like that way in advance, and when it's actually announced that we're doing it, then everybody's like, hey, congratulations, especially the Wacken, headlining Wacken thing. We knew about this, quite some time before it was announced, and you can't say anything at that point because it's not announced yet. So your happiness has already subsided a bit, and then when it's announced, everybody's going on Facebook and texting, "Oh, headlining Wacken, congratulations!" Like, yeah.
It's a bit of an anti-climax for you guys, and at that point you're like, yeah, I knew about that months ago, but I wasn't really allowed to tell you. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, now I know the secret. Yeah. I'm not going to ask that question ever again to anybody. So, thanks, buddy. So, after the massive touring, are there any plans to go back into the studio? What's ahead for Sabaton after all the touring?
More touring, actually. I think we're looking at about 150 shows per 12-month period in the coming time. Wow. So it's a lot of time on the road, about 250 days on the road for a year. So and then there's on top of that the rehearsals and everything. So there's not much free time, but we really like what we do. So it's not a sacrifice, but rather a privilege instead. I think we'll be able to squeeze in a new album somewhere during 2016. I mean, obviously we can't make a new album tour and make a new album within a year and a half. Yeah. But on the other hand, we usually want to get a new one out before 3 years has passed since the last one.
That's very important, I guess, for and make sure that everything's fresh and new and ready for the next set of touring. It's always a pleasure. I would say always a pleasure. I've only met you once before, but it's been a pleasure both occasions to have met you. And I just want to say on behalf of the listeners of Metal Nation Radio, who are, I must say, Sabaton fanatics, they were very excited when I announced that I was coming here to interview you tonight. So I just want to say on behalf of everybody, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you for listening.